What's up, everybody? This is Chris Nichols, and you're listening to an episode of the Nichols&Dimez Show featuring Necoda, Neil. Enjoy. Necoda, what's going on, my man?
Just chilling, man, in Big Apple.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, this is new to me up here.
Dude, thanks for meeting me out here in New York City to do this.
Of course. I love new experiences and good people, so it's always good to be around.
Appreciate you, man. Well, dude, it's so good to see you again. We used to live together in San Diego. Well, I guess we not in the same place, but we were in the same community. And, man, it's just so good to see everything you've built since you've gone back home to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's been, I'd say a lot has changed. A lot has changed since I've seen everyone out there. It's been like just about a full year now, I think.
Wow.
I've moved back.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, let me give everyone a quick intro on you and what you're up to, and then we'll get into the journey and your story. So,
of course.
Yeah, but guys, I'm here today with my friend Necoda Neil, who is a sustainable clothing and fashion designer under his brand Necoda Matthew, which specializes in creating custom outfits using recycled and used clothing. Necoda calls this the upcycle process, which involves combining various garments from thrift outlets and elsewhere. Necoda is originally from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where he currently runs his practice. So, man, like I said, it's just been so cool to see what you've built over the past year especially, and you've blown up on social media with the work that you're doing, and it's unique. It's so cool. But I think it'd be good to start off with just understanding where you come from, who you are, and then try to connect that to why you have this entrepreneurial bone in your body, right, that you're going after right now. So could you tell us a little bit more about what life was like growing up in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's definitely, I never expected to be a fashion designer growing up in a tiny little Christian small town. I call it a sandlot town.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of the movie Sandlot. We had a neighborhood park with a pool, and it was a very close-knit community. We rode our bikes around everywhere. Yeah. And I grew up, four-wheeling, doing woodsy stuff in Pennsylvania. It's kind of farmy as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then I played lacrosse and football, got into athletics, and I'd say I was creative.
Yeah.
I enjoyed art, but never, was going out of my way to express it to my parents that I wanted to go in that sort of direction.
Yeah.
So after high school, I really went into college undecided, which was, I'd say a little ballsy move.
Yeah.
At the time. Thinking I would either do personal fitness stuff, exercise, sports science, or I just went general business.
Yeah.
And that was my 50-50. My dad had his own business, which was flooring and floor covering. So I saw the work involved in owning your own business, but I also saw the freedom involved, which always seemed really cool. So I always wanted to have that he was a big idol, own your own business, you're the boss, get employees, you can select how you want to live your life.
Yeah.
So going through college, I just always had that in the back of my mind, and it took a while for an idea to really take off.
Sure.
So
as it usually does, right? Yeah. So your dad had a big impact on you, and that really became more of a real idea for you when you were in college.
Yeah.
So what did you do after college for the first few years? Did you kind of do a few different things, figuring out what you eventually wanted to do, or did you have some idea?
Yeah, I would say so. The clothing kind of sparked its, interest into my life when I was in college, and I was very on a budget, as every college student I think is. And I liked going out with friends and drinking, partying, but I also really disliked matching random people when I would go out. I hated going out and be seeing in the same shirt as someone else. So that's when my thrift obsession started. And I was always going thrifting in these little Myrtle Beach thrift stores because I was down at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
And I was getting all these cool, they were probably old man retired Hawaiians and just loud patterned shirts.
Yeah.
And I would wear them out and people would love them.
Yeah.
So I was there's got to be a way, I started just flipping, buying and selling to like get into that personalized, like people thought they were cool.
Yeah.
The odds of being seen in the same thing are lower.
And this was in college?
This was in college, yeah.
Dang,
so I was
okay.
like taking pictures on my like carpet floor in my like dorm, and like my friends were like buying things just cash, like very low key. And then not until I really wanted to like customize, like I was like, these can be definite one of one if I can make it there.
Right.
And that's when I like did more research on like how to get into modifying the clothes and stuff like that. Man, I started just with like glue. Yeah. Literally just gluing shirts together, and I'd like wash them a few times to see if it would hold.
So you just experimented with a whole bunch of ways of making your own clothing.
Yeah.
And this started that long ago in college.
Yeah.
Like how many years ago was that?
Probably, if it was my sophomore year at the time, it was probably like almost 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago.
Wow.
Where I got like the idea to start doing it.
Yeah.
But the whole time I worked in Lululemon was a seasonal job for me, which was a great place. I love Lululemon retail. I worked at Foot Locker before that when I was in high school. So I had some clothing background. Yeah. But then after that, I was in restaurants. You know, like every other person out of college. Like, you know, if you start somewhere, then you can serve, and then you can manage, and then who knows. But like that got pretty old pretty quick. Yeah. I mean, it's like guaranteed work. Everywhere you move, you can always find a job. Yeah. But like I wanted to use my degree. Like I still went to college and like I was trying all this stuff. So not until, man, after San Diego, like 5-6 years later, was I able to start putting things together, I would say. Wow. So. Okay, so let's just get that timeline understood real quick. So you went to school back east, right? Yeah. Where'd you go to school? So Coastal Carolina would be 2014 to 2018 was when I was in college. Cool. And then you moved to, what brought you out to San Diego? So moving out to San Diego, I had one of my roommates, just greatest guy. Like I'm going to his wedding like in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Like, just best guy out there. Yeah. Like went into the military. Yep. And you know, we went out to see him graduate and everything. It was such a good experience, and I fell in love with San Diego and the city. And it was like right when COVID hit. Yeah. And they offered me a place to live out there, and I don't know. It felt like I was definitely not financially sound for the move. Like I said, mid-COVID, 2020 of like August, I think. Yeah. Yep. And dude, that's when I moved there. Yeah. And I somehow talked my dad into driving me out there. Yeah. We had a van. We rented a U-Haul trailer, towed my car, filled with stuff, and I think within the invite, like of me moving out there to like actually moving, may have only been like a month of making the decision, doing it, and just going out there. Good like for you, all man. For it. Did you know why you were doing it? Or did it just feel right because you had a cool opportunity to go live life differently in the midst of that crazy time? I really think that is it. I was like, if I'm gonna be like, I don't know, if I kind of have to be like inside and you know, limited, like why not be somewhere where like I can really enjoy it? And also, it was such a tempting deal that in my head I was like, if I don't take this opportunity now, I may never be able to go back to San Diego and live there. Like I'm, you know, I have flexibility in the future, whether I start to do better or do worse. Yep. And I just never knew if like it was like 3 or 4 blocks from the beach. It was, you know, this small little, it was Imperial Beach. You know, it's like the most like true like SoCal beach left in California that's not like industrialized or hyped up. Yeah. And I don't know, it just felt like really like the right, comfortable move at the time. Yeah. And I really trusted him. I just knew that I'd find a job in the restaurant industry. Yeah. It was like, I'll just walk down the street and like apply to a coffee shop. That's what I did. That's what I was doing in the meantime. But I brought my sewing stuff and everything with me. Yeah, okay. Just like hoping that like California, like it's more fashion-y than rural Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So I did have some hopes of like, you know, I don't know, I've never been to LA, never, you know, went up and like got into the industry. Yeah. But I had some ideas that it could pop off out there. So but yeah, that's been going really, it was a great experience. No regrets going out there other than the costs.
Yeah, well, of course.
That I realized like after coming back.
Ongoing regret for living in California.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, but okay, so when you went out there and you kind of hopped around doing random jobs, right? Like you worked at a pizza shop, I remember. Yep. But where did this passion of yours fit in throughout all of this? Did you ever see anything bigger, or did you have this dream of, I want to make this my main thing sometime? Or were you just kind of going about it, seeing what might happen, and doing it because you love doing it?
At the time, I will say honestly, it was like mostly because I enjoyed doing it. Like it was I moved into an unfamiliar area.
Yeah.
And like I didn't have that many friends yet, but I was like, I know what I still love to do. Mm-hmm. I can go thrifting. There's always going to be a thrift store I can go find. Maybe I can like, express myself, and like the people I'll get into the area, like they'll see me out in some clothes and, maybe like might be the area's style. Like I'm still finding my style, and I was doing it mostly for me. Yeah. Until, I don't know, I just thought like the more I was out there and I met a lot of other young entrepreneurs. Yeah. And like meeting that friend group and seeing how people can, around the same age, have a business, like that's your full way of living. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's not too late for me. Like I thought, like I was like, damn, I should have had this done out of college, right? And I should have been right into it. And now I'm like, it's my side gig when I have time. Like I'll sew one shirt every month, try and sell it. No one sees it, and then I get down about it. Yeah. And I was literally like making stuff all the time and like trying to sell it, and I was like, it didn't sell, and I would get sad. But also I'd be like, I'm not even trying that hard. Yeah. Like I'm making it because I wanted to make that thing and hoped someone would like it, not like just making it to make it. Right. And I feel like I was a little lost at the time. Like half of the people I met out there, like I wasn't even telling them I did the clothing on the side, because like I wasn't. Like if you looked at the page, I'd be like, well, I don't want people to like look at it and see that I'm half-assing it. Yeah. So like not now till I can like really call myself a designer when I meet people. Wow. And so.
Okay, I love how you describe that, because I mean you bring up so many really good point there about the being kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Yeah. And I mean all the best stories is when people really dive in, they take that risk, and it's scary. Right?
It is.
It's scary not just from a financial standpoint, because you don't usually have income at the beginning from starting your new thing, but also just like what is the perception of you, right? Yeah. So, I mean, okay, so you had this going on, you were kind of half-assing it, you were kind of somewhat embarrassed maybe to tell people about it for that reason. So, how did this then transition to you really diving in head first with it?
Yeah, so I honestly think it was like kind of fate that happened. Like things weren't going so well out in San Diego towards the end of my stay. Like the guys I moved in with, they were preparing to sell the house. Yep. So everyone was moving out. My job was like, it wasn't doing that great. Like the restaurant I was at, it was slowing down business wise. And then I tore my ACL out there trying to play lacrosse again. I was like, I'm going to meet some new friends. Yeah. Join a men's league, and I like tear my ACL the second game.
Oh my gosh.
And it just felt like a lot of things were lining up, and like it was a hard point of accepting, like I think I'm gonna have to like go home and like get some help from my family and like get knee surgery. Yeah. And like get my life together a little bit. So we did. My dad drove out, picked me up, we caravaned back. It was actually the three of us, like me, dad, and brother, did a nice road trip home, hit our favorite Myrtle Beach, which is alumni, Coastal Carolina, and for 4th of July, and then came home, and I had my knee surgery, and I was like, wow, I'm fully unemployed, living in my hometown, like doing nothing right now, but I can sew. Like my leg works enough that I can get back into sewing. And so, like, I got really back into YouTube, like DIYs, like learning my machine again. Yeah. And like learning the full pattern making of like start to finish shirts, not just like half and half split t-shirts or switching sleeves. Like I really wanted to step up my skill level. Yeah. So I started just making a ton of different content videos, but not posting any. I was making a ton, like made like a month's worth of videos of like making these shirts, like the little skits. I was like talking to myself as two different characters. And I made just like stacked up some content. So when I was ready, I could start posting it. So that I would never like felt behind. And so once I did that, I was like, as they were like being posted, I could kind of tell which ones did a little better. You know, I could never tell if it was like maybe they just liked the shirt better, or maybe they liked the style of video better. So after a lot of trial and error, I mean, my goal was 10,000 followers. By the end of the year, from 2,000, which was mostly college friends, family, just people I've met, and just like going hard on Reels was my main thing. And that was December of this past 2022.
A year ago,
So coming right into January when the new year started, I must have just like hit an algorithm at the right time where like videos were like getting like hundreds of thousands, even like one broke a million, like I think it even hit up to 3 million. And I went from 2,000 to like, I think it spiked at like 202,000 followers in 2 weeks.
That's unreal.
So like the Instagram really makes no sense. Like you could see someone on the street that has 2,000 followers, you're a normal person, and 2 weeks later you're like, oh, you're a famous designer now? And it's like, that's what people like, I felt expected from the content. Like now you're like, people are they like think I'm this crazy, famous, like verified designer when I'm like, I've only been doing this not even the full year. You can't control how fast people find you. And then once you like have that like following, it's just like all I can do is keep doing the same thing. Like with the following didn't come money and didn't come ads and didn't come like business. 'Cause every shirt I make is still handmade. It's not like I could up production anymore. I mean, it at least made me know that like, damn, I need to do this seriously. Like it's no longer a side hustle. Like I can start marketing and I can start like, you know, getting a following and like really like connecting with the people that want these, not even want these shirts, but I mean, I think people watch just because they like to see my lifestyle and like, you know, I'm a down to earth guy and like I'm very transparent with my content. So like I don't think I want to be like famous. Like I would love to get into, you know, I'd love for some celebrities and athletes to like wear stuff on game day. That's where I could, you know, I want to see my stuff going. But I'm not trying to, you know, go out of sell like $15,000 dresses and like stuff like that. It was just like the click in my head of like things can like it's possible for anybody. Just like being consistent. So that was a big lesson for me. Those 2 months, like a lot happened, I would say. And now this year has been crazy. Well, gosh, dude, you gave us a lot right there, and I want to understand. I want to go back to when you were making this content, all these videos. So what was that process like? You were at home. It's kind of a depressing time, right? You were trying to figure out your way. You're back in your hometown. Your knee was messed up, and you said, well, I can sew, right? So that stood out to me because you just said, all right, well, I'm going to make the best out of this. And it kind of forced you to even go all in. And more so, right? Because 100%. That was like the main thing you could actually do. That was really all. I was still in crutches. But I can lift my foot up enough for the pedal, even if it was my left foot. And a lot of it was just practicing. I wasn't even selling half the stuff that I was making. I was just making like bags and like, you know, stuff for myself to wear just to see if it worked type of thing.
And I want to just say, so you said, oh, I've barely been doing this for a year. Well, you've been doing it for 6 years, right? Let's be real, right? And so because you've been working your ass off to get to where you are, right? Like, let's not discount that. You didn't get lucky here. But when you were making those videos, like, when did you have the idea to start making videos, or did you make videos in the past?
That's true. Like, when Instagram, like, Reels are pretty new even still. Like, I think within the past 2 years, like, I used to just post like the before and after, usually pictures. Out in California, I started with some Reels. Like, I don't know, usually only like using the trending audio stuff, like anything that was going on mainstream. But I started doing my own research on like how to get followers.
Yeah.
And all it said was like I was usually YouTube videos and Googling this research.
Yeah.
Like they were like reels are the new thing. Like you just gotta post reels.
Yeah.
And like they all said to use the trending audios and make them really short. And they all said the same thing. Where I just like I started doing the complete opposite of everything. I was like I'm using my iPhone to film everything with a tripod and like I didn't have any lights. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show just like it reminded me of like OG YouTube, like when YouTube first started coming out, where it's like you see them like setting up the camera, starting the video, and like getting into frame, and just like pause, like get off frame, play again, and like switch over. And I think it took that like showing like I had to really put myself out there. Like, I was like. It was like terrible acting, like because I'm like talking to myself in these videos, and all I'm doing is videoing and like changing shirts and like getting into the other point. And I'm like, wow, this is.
But that was kind of like on purpose. You were just kind of being funny with it, right?
And I think that's what people liked. Like they weren't so focused on like the clothes ended up being an extra in the content. They were like, they're like, oh, this guy's like funny. He's like cool. He's like not trying too hard. It's like very much like he's not pushing sales. He's not, and I always like to be that way where I'm not like trying to sell everything. I just like I want you guys to look good in some like cool clothes, and like here's my way of getting it out there. Right. But the content was like I knew like I couldn't afford a nice camera or any nice equipment because I was starting from zero. I was starting from unemployed, just trying to get out there to now everything that I have made, I'm still like reinvested everything back into the fashion show and just like more equipment and stuff like that. But I think it just clicked to just do it. Like just putting yourself really out there and like your personality, which I think a lot of people are like uncomfortable about. So
and you said a few things about making reels, using the trending audio, and I think these little details have kind of changed just a lot even within the past couple of years. But one thing that I've heard that aligns with what you're saying is the overly curated content is just usually not the most popular stuff. It's just the real stuff that people are making. People think stuff that people can relate to, right? And you also mentioned make them short. How short were you making these videos?
I mean, I was always aiming for like sometimes under 30 seconds. Like at least like they say I would always start with like a quick little intro like hey, can you like look at this shirt and this shirt, and I would always try and switch the camera or like switch the angle of action within like 2 or 3 seconds.
Got it.
Because I don't know, I just think people have a really short attention span and like all it took was to be like, hey, I have a sweatshirt and a flannel. Could we mix them? And then people are going to be like, wait a second. I got to see where this is going. And I just saw like a lot of stuff like you wanted to be like anticipatory. So like they were like, make your videos where like people like you can't give away the end in the beginning. So it's like you have to make people intrigued on like finding out where it's going. So I would do some like real short ones where it's like almost showing the ending so fast that they're like, wait a second, I need to watch that again. And then like watch another 15-second video and then like, be like, wait a second, like that looked really cool. And I think that's when people could like watch it over and over again or like they don't mind sending it to someone, where it's not going to be like, oh, like I got to watch a 2 minute meme from someone and like by the end you're like, I could have predicted that. So I tried to make everything like non-predictable, but like they were somewhat consistent in the style and, like me like personally, and I don't know, I had a lot of fun with them. I think that was the way to do it because I don't know, you see like the professionally edited like videos and stuff and you're like, is this like a real company that's like, you have an ad team and you have stuff like that. And I don't know, you see my content, and you're like, oh, this is just a guy getting his stuff out there. And like, that's what I wanted to do until like, I would love to have a camera guy, like cameraman and like YouTube, like that's what I want to ease into. And, but I think for the content for the page, like it should just be like, you should only be able to post what you can take. So there's a lot of people posting stuff that they don't even see it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't go to the photo shoots. They don't go to, everything. Like, I'm taking people to the thrift store with me. Like, I'm buying everything by hand. Like, not ordering boxes of thrifted clothing and figuring out, like, I'm very purposeful with my shopping and my trips and everything I do, that I think people need to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm always posting stories, like, almost every day, and, putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And it might be too much for some people. And that's on, you don't have to follow me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
it's like, people, if you want to follow, you can. Like, if not, like, that's the freedom of Instagram, where it's like, if you only want to see, like, the clothing posts, like, wait for a clothing post and, like that. But, I didn't want to just post clothing. Like, I am me. Like, Necoda Matthew is, like, it's my real name. It's me. Like, I want people to, like, see a shirt and not just think of the shirt, but, like, be like, I know that guy. I met him. He was the coolest, like, down to earth guy. Like, I see his stuff online. Like, like, they, be like, I'd love to have a drink with that dude.
Right.
And, like,
sure.
I got to do that with some of my models at the fashion show, which is, like, a great experience.
Yeah.
So.
Man, that's so okay. So just to clarify, Matthew is your middle name,
Matthew,
right?
yeah. So Necoda Matthew Nealon.
And did you have that as the brand name from the beginning, or did that come up more recently?
Nah, it's actually, like, one of the funny stories. Like, in college, I, like, started it as, like, I feel like a very college, like, typical name. I was like, I'm gonna sell, like, everything at the thrift store was cheap. I was like, I'm gonna sell all these clothes for, like, $10. So, like, I'm just gonna thrift stuff, mad cheap, sell it for $10. And I'll, like, call myself Dime Bag Clothing. And I was like, I'll be Dime Bag Clothing Co. And just, be like, everything's $10. Like, that's it. Like, they're just all these random shirts.
Yeah.
And just, like, I don't know, very quickly, like, from posting it, like, my friends and other people were, like, messaging me as if I was a complete stranger. Like, because I was promoting it on my personal and then also posting on that page.
Right.
And I'd be like, dude, it's me. Like, it's just Necoda, man. Like, like, you can text it like normal. They're like, hey, man, how can I get access to this stuff? I'm like, dude, you live down the street from me. Like, just come pick it up.
That's funny.
And I just felt like I wanted to add a more, like, that personalized thing to it. And, I mean, my grandma, like, bless her, like, gave me this crazy unique name where on any social media I've ever had, my Snapchat is Necoda. It's just my name. Like, it's literally only my first name.
Yeah.
And, like, I might have been the first Snapchat Necoda out there.
Yeah.
And, like, my pages are, like, very easily accessible when I ask people to, like, look me up or stuff like that. And
that's actually a huge point you're making.
Yeah.
The uniqueness of your name. And I've even gotten this with my podcast, right? The Nichols&Dimez show.
Dude, that's
right. So it's like the same idea.
I think it just adds that, like, and, like, I had my friend in college, he was graphic design, so he did all my logos. I was like, dude, make it look classy, but not, like, super high end. It's, like, very simple, NM, cursive.
Yeah.
I was like, this can be turned into everything. It could be an embroidery, it could be a hat, it could be, a little tag. It could be, it was a very
that's sick
multi-use, like, logo, and just, like, I don't know, I think it's like, what are you wearing? Necoda Matthew. Like, it just seemed like a designer name. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this was fate. Like, I never thought I'd be a fashion designer.
Yeah.
But, like, hell, I wanted a food truck. I was like one of, like, I've been trying to, like, get into entrepreneurial forever. I was like, what am I gonna get into? Personal training, open a gym one day. Like, I love coffee. Do I get into, like, a coffee stand, coffee bar, truck? Like, I love cooking. Do I get into that?
Yeah.
And, like, dude, I actually think fashion found me, and now I love it.
That's cool. Yeah, dude. Wow. Okay, so I want to go back to the content creation and your growth online.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the different platforms you use. So obviously, we've really focused just on Instagram and YouTube. Were you using anything else?
Surprisingly,
like TikTok,
not really. Like, I got onto TikTok a little bit, and I don't know. I think for me, hopping from app to app and, like, the storage on my phone, like, if you edit one thing on one, like, platform and try and save it, it looks different when you go to repost it. Like, they always mess with the quality.
Yeah.
I was getting so frustrated with, like, it either taking out an audio or, like having the watermark and, like, everything in between. And I don't know, I feel like TikTok is huge, and I feel like I could probably make some money on it and, like, get into that market. But I don't know, just from an outside perspective, like I don't know if it's just like conspiracy, but like the app itself, like I'm not like a huge supporter of the app. It seems very like youth based. Yeah. It's a lot of international where I wouldn't, being a one of one shirt like business where they're very low quantity. Like I can't drop ship. I can't. It doesn't matter how many followers I have. Like I can't, sell everyone everywhere all the time. So it's almost like I wanted it to be more of that, like the personal thing. I try and I double post to Instagram and Facebook because they're like connected, and like my Facebook is not a huge presence. I think that's faded out a little bit for business. But I am trying to expand more into YouTube. That's like my newest, like hoping to like get more behind the scenes, like come out with some like episodes, like film. Like if you don't want to just follow me for clothes, like see, like who knows, like you might see like some crazy things that happen through the industry. Yeah. And like, anyone curious about following the same path, or like, I mean, I might be able to start doing like actual DIYs, showing people how to make some of my simpler designs. Sure. Like as soon as I, make some crazy things, there's some lot that I could show people that would be like, I'm not going to lose money by you knowing how to do this. Right. If you want to still support me, you can. But like, I understand not everyone wants to pay for the shirt and not everyone can. And I think it's still good to spread that like sustainability upcycling practice. Right. Because everyone can benefit. And it's great for the planet. For sure. So. Yeah. No, man. So, but in using these different platforms, it's been primarily, Instagram, YouTube. We were just talking before this podcast about how Instagram can, play its own game sometimes, and it's hard to keep up with. Like sometimes it'll suppress the reach, which, we never can quite fully understand. It's wild. And so like that's a good reason why to spread your eggs out into different baskets. Yeah. And YouTube tends to be a really great way, from what I've heard, right, from all these different content creators online, as the other really major one, and it also sounds like YouTube is usually a huge source of income for most of these creators, right? Yeah. But I guess what I want to let's talk about Instagram for a second. So how many years or so did you have a steady 2,000 followers? Dude, it had to have been like 3 or 4. 3 or 4 of like only, like I said, it's really like converting from my personal account, like telling people I had the business and like following. I mean, there was a time on that, my first, like the Dime Bag Clothing, like original Instagram, where I was going to my friends, going to their followers, like looking at all their following my friends' followers. Yeah. Because they would see like mutual, if they saw my page, followed them, and they looked on it, and they're like, oh, my friend's following him. Yeah. It's got to be like a friend or something, friend of a friend. And I felt like that's how I got, the initial, like 2,000, and then like, down the road you would unfollow some people, so like the ratio's not all whack and stuff like that. Right. But yeah, that basic like 2 to 3, like under 3,000. I was at like 2,000 for years, and like thinking I was putting out like good clothes, and like it was fun. Like it was a very good creative outlet still, but I felt like it wasn't like taking off type of thing. Right. But also like I wasn't taking it as seriously as I could have at the time. Yeah. And so then was it, and when you did that period of time when you made all these videos at your house, I just want to understand that the 2-week period where it really took off. So could you just tell us what those numbers look like over from one point when it was 2,000 to growing to whatever it was? Yeah. I mean, definitely like the first few reels I started posting, even though I had them saved on my phone, I was like putting them out. Yeah. Like sometimes 2 a day, like depending. Okay. Like I was selectively like, in the beginning I was doing like, I would try and do a post and a reel a day. Like one post, one reel. Got it. Try and space it out, post one around noon, one at night. Okay. Because those are like 6 to 8 o'clock was like the busy times. And you're on the East Coast. Yeah. So yeah. Because it kind of worked out. Like if you post at 6 on the East Coast, you're getting like the 3 o'clock, which is still busy time on the other side. Yeah. And if you're going like over to Australia, you're getting like morning. Right. Because I've sent out a few orders to Australia and Canada and stuff. Wow. But what was I saying from there? So the growth. The growth. Yeah, and then let's also talk about that video that blew it up. Yeah. So I mean, they all started out at like a couple hundred views.
Yeah.
You know, slowly easing into like 1,000.
Okay.
2,000.
Kind of cap out around there.
Yeah, very, very low in the beginning.
Right.
And then like it was like I could see on my like analytics, you know, you can see like the data. I would be like, I could see like the spikes going like this, and then I would have like one good video.
Yeah.
It would hit like, they would start at like 5 was like a good one in the beginning, 5,000.
Yeah. Okay.
And it would spike up, and then I'd be like, all right, Cap would like start posting like again, and like they would go from like 5. That was after like a few days.
Yeah.
I would post again. They were all floating around 3 or 4 now.
Yeah.
I'm like, they were floating around 1. Now they're all posting around 3 or 4. And then I would post one, it would like spike up to 10.
Yeah.
And then that one, like, they would stay like, it was like slowly like plateauing. And I would keep posting, and they were kind of floating around like 6 to 7, 7, 8. And then another one would like take off.
Wow.
But even then, like those videos I wasn't getting followers. That was just getting likes and views.
Yeah.
But it was every day that those views were like
going up.
I think they like add on, because like what I realized is you might post a reel. I've had reels take off 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Like I'm like sitting on my phone and I'm getting randomly blown up from a reel I posted 2 weeks ago. And it was like when I posted it had 10,000 views, and now it's like randomly up to like 50 or 60. And so it's like there's no like indication of when these things are going to take off.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized like slowly some of those older ones I posted were starting to do better again. And as I was posting, once 1 or 2 hit like 50,000, 100,000, then like I think having them posted every day, it was sending people like the next video. And so people like, I was seeing likes, and it would be like 1 like, and then they like my next post. So it's like people were getting flooded with my content, like one video after another. And then when that one video like went crazy, I think it started at like, that was probably when I was starting to ease into like, I got up to like, just from the like 50 to 100,000 view videos, probably got to like 3,000 or 4,000 followers.
Okay.
But not until that one video like broke like 250,000 views. Yeah. And like worked its way up to like the first million. Yeah. Was I hit 10,000 in a day. I hit 10,000 views.
10,000.
Wait, I was
followers?
getting 10,000 followers every day.
Oh wow.
Like I was like, I went out
in like a week.
That was like every day, 4 weeks. Like I went out like to celebrate with my friend for 10,000 followers, and we went out 2 days later for 20,000. And I was like, dude, I don't ever know it's still going off the same video, and I was still putting out reels even though that one was doing well. Yeah. And it went like, it was going from like 10, 20, 50, 100. Like I was celebrating all these like little, like everything I thought was like huge. It was like, it just kept going. I was like, dude, I don't know when it's gonna stop. I was like, it went all the way up to 202,000. Man. But then even now, like over the months, I don't know if like Instagram just like gets rid of fake accounts and like random stuff, because like those weren't even paid. Like I didn't even pay ad. Like that wasn't even like a promoted, boosted post organic, that did well. And I like, you're out of control of who's following you. And so like it's come down to like, I was getting to a point where I was worried, because like there was a point where my unfollows were way higher than my follows. Interesting. Like at one point YouTube just like, our Instagram balanced itself out. Yeah. And was like, all right, we sent this guy. It must have been like we gave him enough like attention. Like my reels started going back to like 10,000, 20,000 views each, and it just like randomly faded out and faded out, and I was like, got really worried where my followers were like 1,000 a day, like going down, and it balanced out to like 192 now. Right. But even then, like now my content is just not as pushed out. But I'm also doing all sorts of different content. Sure. It's not as much like, because when I was trying to grow the page, I was posting every day, and now it's like I'm just trying to keep people involved and excited. Or it's like you can't really do that every day. Yeah. Like you're a one-man business, and it's like, how exciting can my life really be? Yeah. It's like, man, what do these people expect, type of thing. But I mean, so no, I just want to like understand. So the following, that's like a big deal, but I do want to really focus on how this impacted your business, because obviously your demand spiked, right? Like, I mean, this show is focused on the entrepreneurship
topic.
Yeah.
And what happened in those 2 weeks period with the inquiries you got and the interest you got in your clothing, and you're doing this all yourself, you're custom making everything with your hands? How the hell did you keep up with this demand?
Yeah, I mean, that was actually the craziest part, because when I first blew up out of nowhere, I did start getting I had stuff on the website, random shit that I've had on there for years,
and
literally
you just
everything,
had them in stock.
The whole website sold out.
Oh wow!
It sold out overnight, when I was when the followers were going up 10,000 a day, and I was like, holy shit, if it's gonna be like this, I need more stuff to sell. People are buying, I'm going to make. And so I was going out thrifting and doing these drops of 10 to 12 pieces. I was putting out every week, and I was selling out in 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of posting. I'd be like, hey, I'm doing this drop at this time. I would be going out with my friends, and we'd be sitting at the bar, and I'd be like, yo, watch this. And it would turn to 8. It would turn to 8 o'clock, and it'd be like Shopify order, Shopify order, Shopify order, Shopify order.
Dude,
and
that's sick.
It would sell out instantly. And this was while the followers were growing. Growing.
So when you do a drop though, how many copies of one item would you make?
So they're all one of ones.
They're all individual.
I was usually going and just buying 30 shirts and then mixing them all together half and half. So usually each pair had a matching second shirt. Yeah. So sometimes people would buy both. It'd be a matching set. They'd buy both, or they would just buy one. But it was going so fast where it's I was I can make anything. Yeah. I was I can make anything. People are gonna want it that bad. And I was literally doing that. I was going to the thrift store every week and just stocking up and sewing sometimes 3 or 4 shirts a day. Just to I was I can't miss this opportunity. If I can get them out, I can get them out and cash out, save up some money for down the road. Because I had a feeling, I was this can't last forever. Yeah. There was I think the first month that blew up, how you can see your overall reach. My reach was at 3 million. Woo. My page had gotten 3 million views in that 1 month. Wow. When it was total reach, and I was if this continued the whole year, I would have to hire an assistant. There was times where I would go on my phone in the morning and have thousands of notifications. The numbers wouldn't even make sense. There would just be dots next to where it would pop up. And I was scrolling through hundreds of comments. Yeah. I was trying to respond to everyone. For sure, yeah. Trying to, because they say that's keeps you involved in Instagram. Right. And I was replying to every DM myself. And I was damn, this is crazy. I'm I actually had to set an hour aside every day for social media just to respond to people. Wow. It was crazy.
But I still can't wrap my head around the scalability of this, because you obviously had so much demand. You were selling things out almost instantly. How long would it take you to make one piece?
It can take anywhere from 1 hour to 1 week. Because I make so many different styles where it's I can make a half and half, shirt, very simple, make 3 or 4 a day. Yeah. But then, the video I got the 3 million views on was this. I took 2 pairs of pants and made, because I was 2 pairs is stuck with pants that don't fit anymore. And I made this sick jacket that had 14 pockets. And it was just a crazy, you'd never see it anywhere else before. Right. Probably made up of 35 different cutouts all put in together. And that was a week-long piece. Wow. But also those are the high dollar ones where people are ordering that shit for $400 or $500.
Okay, so I was just gonna ask you that next. Is how do you price these different pieces?
Yeah. So everything is based on the material I get, really, because some of it's, I can tell it's higher quality. Yeah. I can mix any brand. I think that's the cool thing. I can do collabs that might not ever happen. You can
what's
do
an example?
You could do a Polo and Tommy Hilfiger together in one piece, and why not throw some Nike in there? Or, you could literally just be they would hate me. Yeah. I can break. I don't know. I'm more of a fashion guy where I'm there's no rules. I'm realistically, I can make anything as long as I say it's handmade and it's I'm not trying to be someone else. That whole, because I got worried about licensing and branding and copywriting. And I was I guess, everyone else, I follow a lot of other artists. Yeah. And, no one else seems to, think it's a problem. I guess if you don't sell it as brand new, this brand,
right?
As long as you're saying it's like it's a rework, handmade, custom piece, that's what it is,
man.
And it's wearable art at that point. Like I think, like these pieces can be held on to forever, and they're still gonna hold, if not go up in value. If I go up in value, that's the goal. I'm hoping to give these people investments into like something that they'll have some of my first pieces. That 10, 20 years from now, if I'm still a designer, like those will be like even cooler. And
each one is one of a kind. So like generally the range of pricing people can find with your stuff is anywhere between, you know, what, 50 up to like 500?
50 to 500. Like this like t-shirt I'm wearing today, this is just like, they're like my signature dyes. So I just bleach. I get everything like hand selected, 100% cotton, and I'll just sell them like to support the brand for like 40 or 50 bucks. And I can do those in large batches. But it's still like hand selecting the shirts, and, like looking for holes and stains, and picking the good quality stuff. But
how are you going to scale this though going forward? Because like this is all you. I still, this is wild to me. If it's all you, there's no way you can continue to do this forever by yourself, huh?
Yeah, it has been like definitely thoughts I've had like in my brain. It's like how high can you mark your prices up too? It's like I mean, I don't want to just be like, hey, it's limited quantity, so now you guys have to pay $700 for a shirt. But like I don't know, I don't feel right doing that, and I'm assuming as I move on, my skills will get better, and I'll be able to like make at least more stuff for a little bit cheaper and more reasonable. And also like I want to expand into, you know, finding some other ways to like produce the clothes. Maybe like bringing on like an apprentice guy that wants to learn, you know, teach them the simpler, easier ones. I really want to have like a studio like of other collectives, like in New York City or Charlotte or San Diego, and get like a multi-person space where like I have a girl that's like an esthetician, you have a barber in there, you get a photographer guy, you get a design, maybe a tattoo artist, and I'm in there, clothing studio, and you all share the building, and you bring business to each other, and it all moves around. And then if you have an event, you can you have a team, if you all help each other with content and stuff like that. I think I can like start some other, I don't know, I have some other cool like business ideas, I think, to like bring sustainability back in. Like I've had so many people reach out that had like loved ones like pass away, and they have old clothes that they want made into
that's really cool.
New stuff. And I was like, damn, I'm so busy, I can't like do every order. I haven't done any custom commission orders, not even one. And it's like, I would love to start another business where even if I can't make these products, maybe I can find somewhere,
train someone, or like
start a separate business where I can incorporate that as like a side of Necoda Matthew. Like it'd be like Necoda Matthew, so and so. It's like it'd be its own, underneath kind of like sister company type of thing. But there just has to be so many people like that, and I don't know. I have a personal experience with stuff like that where like you hold on to things of people you loved, and like you would love to be able to use them and not just like have a blanket on the wall, like a blanket turned into a sweatshirt now, where it's like, wow, like I'm like with that person. Or like old military equipment I've heard, like jackets, bags, stuff like that, where I like, it's good to make people look different and like feel good about their fashion, but it's another thing to like hit that point of someone, like the emotional, really show that like just sewing, like something can like bring so much uniqueness. Like it's crazy what people like. I made like on the runway, I wore a shirt made out of a curtain. It was like literally, and people were like, that's so cool, like that's the coolest thing ever. I'm like, you would have never thought a curtain could be it. Okay,
I want to talk about that though. So like, I love that idea, first of all, that side business idea, and just the expression and the power in clothing and garments to remind you of something that's personal to you, or somebody. So I'm a huge supporter of that idea. I think that's a really cool thing. But I want to talk to you about a couple more things here before we're done, and one of them is the recent experience you had at the Charlotte Fashion Show. And it sounded like this was an amazing experience. This was when, like last week?
Yeah, it was last full week.
Yeah, so this is what we're in early October 2023 right now. But how did that opportunity come up? And then after you share that story, I just have a couple like more general business questions around like what you've learned. But yeah, tell us about that fashion show and how you got the opportunity to participate.
Yeah, so I was doing what I do every day on Instagram, checking my emails, and Charlotte Scene, which is like their event planner and now magazine in the Charlotte area, they reached out to me like out of nowhere and just asked like if I've ever done a fashion show or if I'd be interested in it. And I was very like uncomfortable at the like moment. I was like, dang, like I guess I am a fashion designer. It's like I had that like imposter syndrome where I didn't like feel like I really was because I just do everything on Instagram out of my house type of thing. And so they invited me out there. I agreed to do it. And then they asked me to even double up and show 2 nights of the week. So it was a full Charlotte Fashion Week. And I had 2 runway shows. They said I had to be different clothes for both.
Wow.
Like 15 pieces each, 15 to 20. And that's like, I didn't even start the production for those until September. And I left for the show on September 25th.
Oh, wow.
So I made 30 shirts and over like 50 of these tie-dyes in 1 month.
Holy smokes.
To bring down there. And it was such like a cool, like real fashion experience.
Yeah.
Like we got a nice Airbnb in downtown. We got to like, they did a kickoff party where they had live music. It was like black dress, like fancy chandeliers. I met all the, the runners of the event and then the photographers, the other designers. I mean, like I got to meet models like that were like, they were casted for me. Okay. And like,
so they linked you up with the models.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause I was so unfamiliar. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'd love to do a fashion show. I just don't know what I have to do. I was like, do you just show up with clothes? And like everything's there? And they're like, yeah, everything's like there. Like we do the production factor. Like if you can't come to like recruit your models, like just give us a general idea. And I was like, yeah, I just want some like, athletic dudes like me that can wear, maybe a few girls so I can try some new designs. Yeah. And it was so crazy. I had random models. I thrifted completely random clothes. Yeah. Made them into random sizes, and everything fit everyone flawlessly. Wow. Like, no one didn't fit a shirt. Like, everyone had something on the runway, and they all loved it. Yeah. And, like, it felt so real. Like, I got to walk out on the runway. Like, the cameras, like, there's people right next to you, like, flashing. Like, it's that, like, crazy behind the scene, everyone getting ready. Like, I guess it was a very good experience to learn how it actually goes. Yeah. Because it felt very uncomfortable at first.
Okay, because it was just new to you and different.
Very new. It was like, I don't know, like with all the models, like everyone's getting ready. It's like, I don't know, I'm expecting like freaking Blue Steel from, what's the movie with Zoolander? Yeah. I'm expecting like, fashion show. Everyone's going to be in these crazy, everyone's going to be crazy like outfits and it's going to be wild. So.
Right. What was uncomfortable though? Was it just the lack of expectation or lack of knowing what to expect?
Yeah, I think I just like, I don't know, I felt a little like out of place. Because I was like, I don't know, I'm an athletic, I'm like an athletic, masculine guy here, like showing with, it was a lot of women designers. Like it was mostly women, like showing like dresses and like, boutique stuff and costumes and, everyone had a hair and makeup team. I didn't have a hair and makeup team. Yeah. I told that, I was like, you guys show up looking good. I trust you. Like I don't have an ideal look that I want you guys to come out all mascaraed or like I'm not going for like a goth theme. I don't have a theme. I was like, I kind of just wanted it to be like my shirts can fit on anyone. Yeah. Anyone can wear them. They're for general public. Like they're not runway like these crazy. You're not wearing plastic or see-through or like a chair or I just wanted to show that like I had a real style that I thought about. Like it was a very planned collection. All the colors were like aligned. I put a lot of thought into it. And I think the uncomfortableness was like I had to go out on the runway and like after my stuff walked and like people see that like my work like in person.
Yeah.
I've only done online. It was my first in-person thing. Like,
yeah.
Like I had fans there that they were like, I've been following you for like
that's sick.
forever. Like I took selfies with people. Like I got pictures. Like my mom wanted me to get a picture with you, like one of my models and stuff like that.
So let me ask a specific question about that though. Like what was the reception like that you got from the audience, from the other designers, from the models? What kind of feedback did you get?
I had nothing but good. Like when I went out there, like the applause, like for the runway, like following up like the finale walk, and like hearing it. Like I've rewatched the videos because I had people like filming it for me.
That's so
like
cool.
I was in the zone. Like I was like, you go out on the runway, you're supposed to be serious, right? I was like, you're supposed to be, like not looking next to you and like thanking people. But I don't know. Now after I do it, like I felt like such a huge confidence boost.
Wow.
From it. Like I was walking my clothes out of the show and people were like stopping me and they were like, dude, like how do I do this? Or like, how can I find you and stuff like that. And like actually just like random people, like, it's not just like a DM. It's like you're seeing someone and they're like, you can see the interest in their face.
Right.
It's not just like hey man, your stuff is cool.
Yeah.
Like trying to get a free shirt or something. And yeah, I think it really boosted the confidence and made me like feel like I'm in the right line of work now.
Yeah. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just the amount of opportunities that will now come for you for getting this exposure and participating, I can imagine is going to be abundant and exciting.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
It was like a huge networking
Yeah,
event. It was
absolutely.
huge networking.
That's so cool, man. Well, I love it, dude. What an experience that was. I do want to just knock out a couple of questions around what you've learned as an entrepreneur. First of all, more around the challenges. You've kind of covered them a little bit throughout the podcast, social media, fluctuation, and scaling, for example. But is there any one challenge that you can mention, whether it's general, overall from your experience, or a specific moment in time that you can share with the audience that was pretty impactful?
I think for me personally, it might not be everyone, but for me, time management has been my biggest struggle, and underestimating how long tasks take.
Right.
Like if you really write down everything you have to do, like not just like check emails, if you log into your computer, turn on the internet, like if you think about all those little steps, like I've caught myself so many times thinking it's going to be an easy, quick day. I'm going to have plenty of time to like nail this to-do list and like get everything done, and I'll get caught up and like set back and then down on myself until I can catch up to the things that I really wanted to get done.
Right.
And like those stuff like eat at me, like if I don't get that everything done. And I think just the time management and like the Instagram was big of like not the biggest thing is not overthinking. Like, don't think of the numbers. Like every day I'm like, don't log, like I want to look how many views my reel got. I want to look how many likes my post got. And it's so hard for me not to know that it's like, that's not everything. That isn't like just what's on Instagram is not a full representation of who you are.
Sure.
It's not a representation of your business. Yeah. All it is a platform to put your stuff out there. I think that's one thing I need to work on is letting the numbers go, like not thinking about the numbers, but like posting what I want to post because I want to post it, not like because I need content and I need to get people like looking. Right. So those are the two I would say.
Yeah, those are great, man. Time management absolutely stands out, especially with a lot of what I've asked you around. How are you going to scale this, right? I can only imagine. And the Instagram challenges as well. And linking that to like how you feel about yourself or how you think you're doing, right? Yeah. And rather just staying consistent, staying focused on what your mission is, right? And putting out that message that you believe in.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I'm still like a fit guy too. Like I like to make sure I can still go to the gym. Like I still like try and cook like healthy food, and it's like balancing a normal lifestyle with this like crazy entrepreneurial lifestyle that you have online. Yeah. It's like people think you don't have another life. It's like, oh, you just sew every day. It's like, I would love to. But.
Yeah. This might blend, what we just covered, it might blend actually into my signature question that I ask at the end of every show, which is, what is an entrepreneurial life hack that is unique to you that you could share with the audience based off your experience? Is there something that you had in mind for that?
I did, actually. I think it sounds crazy, but like, what's gotten me the farthest is like not taking advice from anyone.
Yes, there we go.
It's really it. Like,
I love it,
like
dude.
I almost want to say like, don't take advice from people just because they told you.
Yep.
Like the farther I've
answer.
gotten in like my clothing and like creativity, it's like everyone feels like they have to tell you their idea. It's like, you could do this, you should do this, and it's like the only thing I really look for advice is like, you know, financial stuff, like law stuff, like things that I'm not familiar with. So it's like, only take advice from the people you're asking for advice. Don't like take just random unsolicited advice because it's there. Dude. Like everyone's going to tell you what they think, but no one knows like your goals. No one knows
they're not you.
They're not you. And like, even I see so many other artists and designers, and it's like, I see their content and I'm like, wow, like they have a complete different style of content, and like their shit's doing really well. Yeah. Like there's always that thing like, oh, maybe I should change up mine closer to that. Like, you know, get more into their videos. Right. But that's just not the way to do it. Like I don't like stealing. Like you can't steal other people's content and think it's gonna work for you. Dude. It's like you can only work what your mind works, and like no one knows that trail of tunnels of like, hey, like I'm not even like trying to do big this year. Like I'm trying to do big in 3 years. Everyone's telling me these things to do this year right now, but like I'm setting up. That's another thing. Like things take a long time. I've realized that things take way longer. Right. Like you can't like hope for an instant return on like I'm doing a drop and like you think everyone's gonna instantly buy it. Like I just need to accept that like things need to just end up on the website organically, not sell, stock up, and you know it's not a bad thing to have 50 pieces on the website unsold. Like it's okay. I need to like, you know, let some things go and take my own advice. And that's it.
Dude, I love it, man. I love hearing that answer. That's awesome.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, dude, Necoda, what a journey, man. Thank you for sharing all this stuff. It's super exciting to watch what you're working on and where this is going. So, man, I just can't wait to continue to follow your progress with it and success, and how you're going to scale this and more ideas that you come out with. It's going to be fun, man.
Dude, I'm glad to see, like, obviously, like, you weren't doing this the last time we met. So it's like we both went on some journeys now, and it's, you know, it's always cool to hook up with other people that are in the grind. And, you know, I can only talk to entrepreneurial advice to my friends that are doing similar things. And, you know, that's just something you realize you got to surround yourself with those people, and, like, connections down the road, they don't, like, expire. It's really... If you stay in touch with people, they'll stay in touch with you.
It's so true, man. Well, look at us here meeting up in New York City.
Yeah, we're literally coast to coast. Like we've only met up on either coast.
That's
like
so
nowhere in between, only the extremes. So.
I love it, man. Well, is there anyone you have in mind of recommendations, someone I should have on the show, someone else who's entrepreneurial, like we just talked about?
I do have my best friend. They run Movement Wins. Okay. It's like rehab for athletes that have suffered injuries. It's 3 dudes. They all went to college together. They're all doctors of physical therapy. Okay. So they have like their Instagram page where they, you know, post a lot of like good things for anyone recovering or anyone just trying to get back into activity with existing injuries.
Very cool.
And they all started it out of college, and they're all still working like other like serious like you know jobs as well while doing this. Wow. And that's like with that's like with like that type of schooling and everything involved. Like they had to stay in extra long. You know, it's a lot more investment than it's a way more different business than I am.
What's his name?
Brandon Winslow.
Okay. Awesome, man. Yeah, well, I'll follow up with you on getting in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, dude. Well, share your social media with everybody, and how can they find you online and become a customer? Necoda Matthew.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get you in a shirt. I should have brought you one up. I wasn't sure what your style was, but it's never too late. But anyone can find me on Necoda_Matthew on Instagram. And I'm really just trying to expand into the YouTube, which is Necoda Matthew. And subscribe on there. I'm going to be dropping the full... I filmed everything of Charlotte, from the drive down to the toast of the last show.
Sweet. Some vlogging.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do like kind of like a full movie about like full like, you know, you can see all the behind the scenes. Like I was stressing a little like self interviews, real world style. So yeah, Necoda Matthew, Necoda Matthew.
Love it.
It's a hard name.
Yeah, I love it. Cool, man. Well, Necoda, thanks again for being on the Nichols and Dimes show and sharing the journey. Everybody, check him out. Check out his stuff. It's really cool stuff, and it's unique. It's sustainable. I love watching what he's up to. So, man, awesome to have you on the show, dude. And I'm stoked to see where this continues to go.
Yeah, thank you very much. Couldn't have asked for a cooler venue.
Actually. I know,
this
right?
Sick.
Not bad. Cool. All right. Bye, everybody.
Peace out.
Slow down, man, I just don't know how.
Thank you for joining our conversation today on the Nichols and Dimes show. Please check out and follow my podcast Instagram at nicholsanddimezshow. I'd love to have you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. You can also find it on my website. I welcome and encourage any feedback you can share in the reviews so I can continue to improve and develop the show. Thanks again, and see you next time.